Hi everybody, and welcome to Stamping Fun with Donna. I'm Donna, and I'm glad you're spending some time with me today. Today we're going to be making some holiday packaging using the Poinsettia Petals bundle from the August to December 2020 mini catalog. So let's go ahead over to the stamping table and I'll show you what we will be doing. First, I wanted to show you the Poinsettia Petals suite, which contains all of the items that you need to make today's packaging. We're actually only going to be using the Poinsettia Petals stamp set and the dies. They come together in a bundle. So there's 18 stamps that make absolutely beautiful stamps. And that's for $27, and there's 18 dies for $36, or you can get it together as a bundle for $56.50, which is 10% off. We're not going to be using the other items in this suite, but we are going to be using the stamps and the dies. I love the dies in this set. They make absolutely beautiful things. To quickly show you what we are going to be making. So we're going to be making this tag. Here you can see I put it on top of a bag, but we're just going to be making the tag by itself because today that's what we're going to be doing. So if you haven't seen my video yet on making bags of any size, head over to my YouTube channel, which you probably are on if you're watching this, Stamping Fun with Donna, and check out the video on how to make bags of any size. It's really informative and it gives you all the directions and tells you exactly what to do. You can also check out my blog post on that at stampingfunwithdonna.com/blog. We're also going to be making some bag toppers. So here is one bag topper, and you can see the bag is a little bit big for this. I would probably use a smaller bag, but it just is this that goes on top and gets stapled or attached. And we're going to be making this kind of a bag topper as well, which is really adorable for small treats. And finally, we're going to be making a box for cards, which is absolutely beautiful, and I'll show you exactly how to make this. And you can see I stamped the bottom and the sides, and then inside is, you put anything in here, but what I have in here are cards that match the set as well. So these are the cards that I made last week ago, but there is a video on how to make these cards as well, and then these make great gifts. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing we're going to be doing is to be making the bag topper. So I have pre-cut the paper because you certainly do not need to see me cutting the paper, and we have it all ready to go. We're going to be using here the layering circles dies, which are a great addition to any one who has the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, because these are really a workhorse and do a lot here. You get 2 sheets worth of dies. These are scalloped and these are plain. So you can see on the tag, where did I put that tag? Here it is. You can see on the tag, there's the scallop and then there's the plain, and that's another plain. So what I'm going to do here is the largest scallop, which is this one right here, and then I'm going to use the second largest circle. This is the largest, this is the second largest. And then I'm finally going to be using the 4th largest circle. So we've taken out 1 and we've taken out 2, 1, 2. This is the 3rd, and then this is the 4th, right here. So those are the dies we'll be using. And I'm going to set these aside and pull out the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So here's our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and you just open it up like that. Now, since we're going to be die cutting, I'm using plates numbers 1. I'm going to do it this way, I think. 2. It goes either way in the machine. 3 for the acrylic plate, and then we put on the paper. Now the first paper, the largest scallop die, will be this green piece. I've already cut these pieces, pre-cut these pieces out, but don't worry about the sizes. You can just go to my blog on this at www.stampingfunwithdonna.com/blog, and I'll put it underneath here in the description, and all the sizes will be there. So you want to make sure that you put the cutting and embossing side down. So you put it down like this, all on the paper, and then cover it with the acrylic cover, and we will send it straight through. And it will do a beautiful job. There we go. I don't have a good handle on it, so it's moving around a little bit. And it comes right off, and you have this beautiful scallop piece. Now, the second one I'm going to be doing is using this piece of designer series paper from the Heartwarming Hugs, which is also in the mini catalog. I'm going to be using the circle number, what was that? Circle number 2, the second largest circle. And I'm going to run it through like this. And that one's cut out. Let me just get a little further. There we go. And you can see here that that also cut out beautifully. Set that aside. And finally, I'm going to be using circle number 4 using the white. So let's go ahead and put this here. Circle number 4 and cover it up and send it right through. And then we pull this out, and here we go. Here's our circle. Okay, so we have the 3 pieces we're going to be using. I'm going to set that aside, put the plates down, put the machine down for now. All right, so we have the scallop circle, the designer series paper, and the white piece. So what we're going to do here is just adhere the second piece to the first and just get it straight in the middle. And now we have this white piece. And with the white piece, we're going to be stamping a sentiment on it. We're going to be stamping Happy Holidays on this one. So let me grab my real red stamping pad, open it up, grab my, oh, I always get my hands full of ink. I don't know about you guys, but I just touched it for the first time today and it's already full of ink. Okay, so let me grab my Happy Holidays stamp, which is right here, and a block for it. And just, I actually will show you this. I like to put the stamp down here and then put the block on it, picks it up, and it's perfectly straight. Sometimes they seem to bend a little bit, but if you do it that way, you know it'll be perfectly straight. Stamp that all up. I'm actually going to be folding this in half, and I'm going to fold it in half, I think, now, so that I know that that when I stamp it, you can read the whole thing. Now, you can just fold it in half if you like to, but what I like to do is to score it, because I know if I score it, then it's in the right spot. So let me take a look at this here, get this settled up so that it's right in the middle, halfway, and then I want to make sure I use the scoring blade and score it like that. I'm going to set aside my Stampin' Trimmer and fold it, and I know it's perfect. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is stamping on the bottom here. So let's stamp Happy Holidays, just like that. And I'm using a pad underneath because these are photopolymer stamps. So you need to have some sort of cushioning underneath because they don't come with the cushioning on the stamps themselves. Okay, so now we have this one ready. And what we're going to do is, again, put adhesive on the back. And I am actually going to score this one before we go any further as well. So let me take back my trimmer and place it here. That's upside down. Place it here and just score it down the middle again. These are great because they come with both a scoring blade and a cutting blade. So I know that the lighter gray is the scoring blade and the darker black is the cutting blade. Now when I fold it in half, again, it's perfectly done. And I can just take this and stick it right here in the middle. Now we have this beautiful bag topper. That's all there is to this. These work perfectly with little bags like this. You just put it, you fill it with whatever it is you want. See how beautiful that looks? And then you can staple it or adhere it with glue or whatever it is you like to do. I like to actually do staples. I think it looks cute, or sometimes brads. Brads work really well too. And just put one here and one here. So that's all there is to that. Now we're going to go on and to do the tag that I showed you. So here is the tag, and this is using the die cuts. So the die cuts for the Poinsettia Petals, the Poinsettia dies, there's actually a whole lot of them. There's 18, as I had mentioned before, but they work well together. So let me put this here and I'll show you what I'm talking about. That's plates number 1 and 2. Here I have the magnetic plate. Now you don't have to use the magnetic plate if you don't have one. You certainly can use the regular acrylic plate that we just used. But because I nestled these inside each other, I think it's easier if you have it magnetic and they don't move. So the poinsettia dies, to make the poinsettia, what we usually do is layer 3 flowers and then the leaves. So this is a smaller flower, the medium flower, and the larger flower. Each of the dies has a cutting part and an embossing part that goes inside. So it embosses, I don't know if you can see it on here, but it's really obvious in real life. It embosses the veins on the leaves themselves. So that's why you have that in the middle. Now you can use either the cutting by itself or the embossing by itself, but for our purposes, and usually I use them together like that. So now what I'm going to do is put the acrylic plate on top, and I'm just going to send this through. And you can see I try to save as much paper as possible because I go through a lot of paper. So I'm just doing it on a piece of paper where I made the one I've already showed you. And now if I take this off, this should be all embossed and cut out. So there you go. That's the cutout part. And now when we take these off, hopefully you can see how beautifully embossed they also come out. So there's 1, 2, and 3. Now all you have to do to make this into the flower is, I'm having trouble getting underneath there, there we go, is to layer them up and glue them together. So what we're going to do is, once I get the last one off, come on, they sometimes like each other. They have an affinity for each other. Okay, I'm going to move the machine aside to make it easier. I don't need that anymore. And I'm going to take my mini glue dots. Now, I always tell you this, I know, but I didn't get these mini glue dots for the longest time, but now they're something that I can't live without. They're just so easy. You just take the small one and you pop it on the glue dot on here and peel it off, and it comes off onto the paper. And I'm going to do a second one. I find if you only do one of these, then you they move around a little bit, and we certainly don't want that. I did forget one quick little thing. I like to curl the ends. It gives it just a little bit more oomph and interest, visual interest. It stands out a little bit more. So all I do is I take my bone folder and I just flick it like you were doing it on ribbon, like you were trying to curl some ribbon. So there we go. Now I'm going to take this one and offset it like that. That's beautiful. Now I'm using the shimmery white paper. You can certainly use the Whisper White if you don't have the shimmery white, but I think the shimmery white gives it just a little bit more interest and oomph and pretty sparkle. So I will take this one now and make sure I have the bottom. Put another 2 glue dots on. There's 1 and there's 2, and they just peel right off onto here. Offset this again, like, whoops, not quite, like so, and put it together, and you've got that. That's all there is to it. So now we have, to make the tag, we have a piece of real red, which I've already cut and scored, and I just fold in half. And then I have a piece of designer series paper. I'm going to be using the striped side, put on some adhesive. You can use any adhesive that you wish to use for this. It's not necessary to use the tape runner if you want something else. Place that like that, and to put a little bling in the middle, like so. And we're going to use Stamping Dimensionals to pop it up and adhere it to the back. I like to use at least 3 here because I want to make sure that the flower doesn't come off. Because if the flower comes off, it's not nearly as interesting a card or a tag, I guess, as if the flower stays on. So let's go ahead and pull this one off and stick it here. I do them in a row, but you can do them any way you want as long as it sticks. And before we adhere it, we want to adhere the leaves to it. So I'm going to take the glue dot again. Here's one. Put a glue dot on the bottom right here, and then a second glue dot right next to it. These glue dots are pretty inexpensive, and I like to use them, so enough of them so that I know it'll be solidly on. They do need to be adhered on the top of the leaf. So let me go ahead and do one here. Make sure that's the bottom. Yeah. And then another one here, and adhere this one right next to it, like that. So now what I'm going to do is take this and stick it on here, like so. And now you have this gorgeous card. It doesn't take very long at all, and it's absolutely stunning, and you can coordinate it with the rest of your packaging since it's just the paper that you own. So that's our second project. Now on to the box. This is the big project. This is the one that takes more time. So we have here the bottom piece. Now these pieces, by the way, just so you know, are cut out of regular size papers. So they're cut out of 8.5 by 11-inch papers. You don't need any specially large papers or anything to make these. And we're just going to stamp randomly. Now I like to stamp this randomly. You may prefer to do it more as a pattern. And if that's what you want, that's fine. You do you. But I like it when it's a little bit more random. So when I get to the edges, I like to stamp partly on, partly off. I just think it's a prettier look. So you need to make sure you have a piece of scrap underneath, of course, to cover up your work surface. Do one here and maybe one around here. Okay, good. Now what we're going to do is to take the smallest of the flowers, and I think let's go ahead and make this flower yellow just to give it a little bit something different. And so let's go ahead and stamp here, and we'll turn this a little bit and stamp like here, and then a little bit more here, and I think one on this side as well. Good. Now what we're going to do is to take this little piece. I don't actually know what it's supposed to do, what it's supposed to be, but we will also stamp this in yellow. But since the other one is in yellow and we want it to be kind of different colors, we're going to stamp first generation, second generation, maybe even the third generation. You get different gradations of the same color if you do it that way. So do a little more here. So we're going to take this little piece and do it in a green. I can't figure out what all of these little pieces are supposed to be, so I don't know. But if you know what it is, feel free to drop me a note and let me know. And this one's going to be in green, also partly on, partly off, and in different, without re-inking. We'll have a second generation here, and then we'll get full strength for here, and then a second generation maybe here without re-inking, and maybe just a little bit more here and right here in the corner. Just want a little bit more green. Great. So I'm going to be placing that here and doing this one in soft suede. So let me get that one open. And let me shut these other ones. I like to shut them right away because I don't want them to dry out at all. But also I know that if I leave them open, that I'm going to get so inky from them. I just can't see myself staying clean. I think it's just very, very inky. Okay, so this one we're going to use soft suede, and this is sort of like a pine cone ish look to it. So put one there and put one here. And as I said before, it really doesn't matter how you do them. You do what you think you like, and that'll be great. So I just like to have a lot of color, to have a lot of it filled in. Do one here, second generation there, and maybe a little bit down here to get a little brown here. I also like to move my hand around so that they're going in different directions. There we go. Okay, so that looks great. The only thing I still want to do is that I still want to fill in some of the smaller of the flowers. So the flowers we did in, the smaller flowers we did in yellow. We did in crushed curry. Yes, crushed curry. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up. Now this is a two-step stamp. So this one has an inside to fill in. It's not, doesn't fill it completely in. It's very interesting. It does some of it, but it doesn't do all of it, and that's on purpose. So now what we want to do is kind of line this up a little bit. My angle isn't good, so you'll have to excuse me if it's not right, and just fill it in just a little bit. It gives it just a little bit more shading if you do it that way. See how that looks like that? And then one here. And I kind of missed, but it still looks interesting. And then one here. I'm just, because I'm trying not to get in the way of the camera, I'm not right over it. It's much easier normally when you're stamping and you're right over it. So that's what the box is going to look like for the bottom part of the box. Now what we're going to do is to go ahead and score it. So I am going to score it here. See if I can move those a little bit. I'm beginning to use up my work surface. And I'm going to grab my glasses, because I always like to have glasses for this part. And I'm actually going to score this 1 1/4. And again, all these sizes will be on my blog. So you just need to, and along with all the directions, so you just need to go to my blog to see all the directions and all the sizes. And one here. And one here. Okay, now to make, while I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and score the top. And I'm just going to score this one at 1 all the way around. Now I did not make this one into like background paper because we're going to be decorating the top instead. 1 inch here, and then one more side. You just have to do all 4 sides. There we go. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is to take my snips and to just cut from the long side in to the corner, and then just cut a little triangle out on the bottom part. Same thing here. Cut into the, from the corner to where it meets, cut a little triangle off. Cut in from the corner, cut a little triangle off, and cut in from the corner and cut a little triangle off. Now normally at this point I would go ahead and start stamping and decorate this, but because we're running out of time, I am going to do this a little bit quicker. I already have a flower already set that I've already made, and I'm going to take my Happy Holiday stamp and my Real Red and just stamp it here in the corner. And I'm going to pop up my flower with the Stampin' Dimensionals. This flower, of course, I did exactly the same as the one I showed you. I just did it in Real Red as opposed to in shimmery white. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to place that right there. You can do whatever you want with this. You can make it into background. You can add designer series paper. You can make a whole card front to put on there, which is, by the way, what I did. Made basically what is a card front and made it like that. And then what I'm going to do is to add just a little bit of bling here. These are the champagne rhinestones, which are absolutely beautiful. The one in the middle is the gilded gems, which is in the annual catalog. And one more down here. Okay, and now we basically have this top. Now, what we're going to do here is to go ahead and put it together. You can use any kind of adhesive you like, but I actually recommend that you use either the Seal Plus or the Tear and Tape because they are stronger than the regular seal or the liquid glue. And when you have 3D projects, it's more important that it holds together. So what you want to do is to, on each of these flaps that you cut a little bit of, you want to put a little bit of Tear and Tape, a little bit of whatever adhesive you're using on the front, and which is the part that is sometimes seems confusing. And then you just want to, here I'm just putting the Tear and Tape down and taking the backing off, and the Tear and Tape is on there. And all you need to do is, oh, I forgot to actually fold it first. Normally I would fold and burnish it first to make sure that all my edges are in and good. Okay. And now what we're going to do is to fold it. Did I not do these? There we go. Fold it up like this and attach these flaps that we have made on the inside of the box. So there's two. Here's one here and another one here. You don't want to do this too tightly because you don't want to not be able to get it on the bottom of the box. Now I'm going to take the stamped and scored bottom of the box and do the same thing. So we're going to take this, cut in from the side to where they meet, cut off just a little bit of a corner, cut in here, cut off just a little bit of a corner, and cut off here. Now I can see that the ink is coming through a little bit. Not a big deal because this is the inside of the box. So nobody's really going to be looking at the inside of the box for that. And it's only the ink from the front. And this time I'll do it correctly and I'll just fold it and burnish it and fold it and burnish it. And these little guys on the sides too. And fold this one. There we go. And then this one is the last one. There we go. Okay, now we're going to put it back like this and put Tear and Tape on each of these. On the outside, just a little piece of Tear and Tape will do it. And you just put it down, you rub it with your fingers so it sticks, and you peel the top off. This one here. And they come right off. As soon as I say that, it doesn't, but they do come right off. I didn't push it down enough on that side. So let me get this one up from this side. There we go. And one more to go. Okay, and then what we do is the same exact thing. We take this and we fold it up, fold it inside, fold this up, fold it inside, press together to make sure that they stick together, and then press these two up. So that's all there is to make a box. And you can actually make a box in any size that you want, obviously. This one I made purposefully to hold the cards and envelopes. So I should be able to take these, are cards that I made for the last video that I did, that again you can find on my YouTube channel, and put this right in here, like so, and then take the top and just place it directly on top, like so, and you have this beautiful gift box to give out to somebody that is filled with cards for them to use over the holidays. So let's go ahead and quickly review. We made this box. We made these two different types of bag toppers, which you can place on bags. I'm not placing them on the bags yet because I don't have the bags ready to go and filled with goodies, but that's what those look like. And we made this tag, which I did not put any bling on. This tag is not nearly as good without bling. So let me go ahead. I really like to put a little bead in the center of these flowers because I think that they pop out so much better. So here's our tag, which you can use either by itself or on a bag or any other item like that. So thank you so much for spending some time with me. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope that you learned some things. Please feel free to give me a thumbs up, and it really helps me out. If you like the video, subscribe. You can click on the little red bell icon, and then you'll get notifications of when I'm live and when I upload new videos. Please check out my website, stampingfunwithdonna.com, and you can leave me a comment there, and that's where all of the directions for this will be. Thanks a lot. See you next time. Bye.